Internet back. This is Rick.
I'm Eric.
And this is our spoiler review for episode 2 of season 2 of Better Call Saul. The episode's titled Cobbler, written by Jennifer Hutchison and directed by Terry McDonough. So we also covered episode 1, so we'll link to that right here at the card. Just click on there, and if you missed our review for the last episode, Switch, it's right there, so check that out, and we'll pick up right here in episode 2.
Yeah, so we see Howard Hamlin visit Chuck.
He's taking over Jimmy's duties for getting his food and shit and like all the supplies.
Yeah, all the ice and the fucking bread and banana chips or whatever the fuck it is that he eats. You can tell the whole time Chuck's kind of wondering like, hey, what's going on with I was gonna say Saul, what's going on with Jimmy. And then he finds out that he got that job at, what was it? Davis in Maine. But he's just kind of surprised that they actually managed to hire him. He asked him about his, like, did they look into his education and his background? At the end of season 1 is when we see how they left off, where Jimmy basically told him, like, fuck off. Like you're basically nothing to me because you turn your back on me. And then we kind of see, like, him finding this out, and he's kind of surprised, and then that's when he all of a sudden he decides that he wants to come back.
It's still an issue between Jimmy and Chuck, their fallout from the end of season 1, and even in that one scene you can see when Michael McKean comes walking in, like you can see, like if you see Saul's like kind of like over on one side of the screen, and you can see like he doesn't even look at him, like he just doesn't even acknowledge him, and even afterwards when they meet up in the hallway after they have that meeting once Chuck comes back. I mean, you can see that conflict still between them. So that's going to be interesting to see where that goes a little bit later on this season.
We see things heating up between Jimmy and Kim. They're a lot more intimate, and even like during while they're in that meeting, we can see Kim. She moves the seating charts a little bit, and she moves Jimmy's book next to hers.
We jump over to the other running storyline with Mike and Pryce. That his name?
Yeah,
Pryce?
that fucking bitch ass nerd. That is a jackass, man.
Yeah,
he's like the biggest fucking idiot.
He's like the biggest dipshit.
He's like the opposite of Walter White. He's like a huge nerd, but he's a fucking idiot. Like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Mike now has to come in like he usually does. He's sort of like he's like the Better Call Saul's version of the Wolf. Like he comes in and just fixes everything.
Yeah, he cleans up all the fuck ups from everyone else.
Yeah, so that's when obviously Pryce meets up with Mike. And that's when Mike finds out Nacho stole the baseball cards, actually. And obviously Mike puts him on a guilt trip and says, I fucking told you, don't make such a spectacle of yourself with that damn car and getting caught up in some shit. You have no idea what the hell you're doing. Mike works out that deal where Nacho's going to give back the baseball cards. And in return, he'll get some cash. And then it'll just kind of like call things even.
Yeah, I know Pryce is an idiot, but doesn't it seem like it seems like he's almost a little too stupid? Like, how can anybody be that fucking retarded to do some shit? Like he basically walks into and he talks to the cops like he expects them to not suspect anything wrong or anything weird is going on. But I mean, I guess that's when Mike had already told him beforehand, like you need someone there with you, and look what happened. Like it ended up costing all of them time and money, more than if you would have just listened to him in the first place.
He tells Mike, well, I've already talked to the cops, and Mike is like, well, why would you do that? I mean, you're a criminal and you're inviting cops into your house. And so now it's a problem because, Pryce is like, oh, well, we got the cards now, we're good. But now they have the whole situation where now they have to try to come up with a story to get the cops off their back.
So they got to start bullshitting them.
Yeah. Mike gets in touch with Jimmy and asks him, how morally flexible are you? And that scene actually kind of happens like right as Jimmy's meeting with Chuck. So it's kind of like a nice contrast where, Jimmy's kind of like at his new gig, trying to do right. And then he gets that call from Mike and he's kind of getting pulled back into like, that criminal side of things. Jimmy comes in with Pryce back at the police station. And they have that whole scene where pretty much Jimmy makes up that whole story, which is where the title Cobbler comes in, where he teabags pies or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the bullshit. But see...
So obviously Jimmy makes up that whole story of because obviously the cops want to know, well, what was he hiding in the baseboards of the house? It's got to be drugs.
Yeah.
And so he kind of tries to pass it off as like
tapes.
He tries to pass off this whole story like to try to make it seem so weird that the cops are maybe not gonna want to, I guess, pursue it any further. But obviously they do. So now he has to come up with with a videotape. So he buys a bunch of pies.
Yeah.
And they film a video, which we don't see.
They fabricate this, this lie to show to the cops that this is really what was going on.
Pryce initially tries to get the cops off his back, and obviously that doesn't go well because he's such a dipshit. Where he's kind of like falling deeper and deeper into a hole where like the cops are talking. So
stupid. But see, the whole time too, like Jimmy has the option, like he doesn't have to do it, but there's a part of him that kind of wants to do it,
Yeah, I think he gets that he gets an excitement from doing that.
Yeah, he gets like almost like a thrill from doing this shit, and then we see how that affects when he tells Kim about it, and she's completely against it, which is kind of weird because even he mentions to her like, "Hey, well, why aren't you against us fucking over that idiot, that douchebag at the bar?"
But I thought that was interesting because she says, "Well, I don't want to hear about this again," and he's like, "Okay," but now that kind of leaves you as like, is he not gonna do it anymore, or is he gonna do it and just not tell her?
Which is what I think is gonna happen. Eventually, he's gonna fall down that path. But at the same time, like I'm interested to see as to how far like Kim's gonna put up with it. Like, what is it exactly that he's gonna do that's gonna kind of break shit up between both of them? It seems that the closer they're coming together, like the more that Jimmy wants to go off and kind of do like these crazy things that he shouldn't be doing.
We know where Jimmy ends up as Saul Goodman, and obviously by that point things with him and Kim have already broken off. So it's interesting to know that you're kind of cheering for them to make it work, but it's not gonna work, and so it's just a matter of getting to see how bad things get and just how ugly it all falls apart.
What they're doing with this series so far is kind of like what they did with the last season of Breaking Bad, to where at the beginning we saw Walter after he had already got his new identity, and we kind of see like where he's at the end, but then the whole time like, damn, well, how did it lead up to this, or what did exactly happen? That's kind of what they've been doing so far with both season 1 and season 2 with this show.
So let us know what you think about episode 2, Cobbler, your thoughts and what we had to say about the episode, and where you think the rest of the season is gonna go. So let us know down in the comments, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.